1 second, I'm just doing a tweet. Twitter. And as I've done this tweet about me streaming, I will be streaming better. You'll see my face then. That might be worse. Why? So annoyingly, in the YouTube, I can't even say the words, in the YouTube dashboard, there's no way of getting your live stream ID. Don't worry. I'm just gonna whine and complain because I'm an old man that doesn't understand how the internet works or anything works anymore. Let's just copy this. 1 minute, I'll be ready. Bam. And music. Right. Let's make my face happen. Hi, I'm BoredGamer. I haven't set new stream video. Gonna just go with this one. Next time we'll have a proper new stream video. All the CitizenCon content and some other bits and bobs. Some newer bits and CitizenCon bits. My head is slightly out of shot. Do that without destroying too much of the ecosystem. Hello, I'm BoredGamer. I hope you are okay. If you'd like to ask a question during the stream, then say question in brackets, and then sort of ask away. Sharkbite, Sharksbite, I have not reviewed that right yet. A solution for PTU testing of event, Wicklow, crafting, etc. The recurring issues that we've witnessed have new features, sandbox activities, events, etc. That added are the items required to be tested, and there's hours involved of time to collect them, especially when any quantity is required. Okay, so we've got a Wicklow mission, we've got a Kill Yamondi mission. You need like 12 Yamondi eyes. It means you need to do the mission 3 times, right? At least, and to get enough eyes or whatever, yeah? Okay. Well, definitely a place to require testing, the acquisition of the materials and items, cargo, etc. Okay, so you want a way. I propose that in the EPT, PT, or tech preview builds, a shop is opened through one of the closed doors or elevators or something that allows us to buy bulk quantities of relevant items for testing. Okay, so what they could also do is just give us the items, right, as well. I see what you mean, though, because you might want to test a specific thing and go, hang on, I know that when I'm using these materials, there's a problem. I need to repeat that. Really hard to repeat that because I need to do an hour of prep or 2 hours of prep or more. Gotcha. Yes. Not a bad idea. I mean, it's in the ecosystem now, right? So CIG will be like, oh yeah, that's a good idea or not. I'll highlight it a little bit. I don't think that's a bad idea. I do think they could just give us the items or... It could be really useful doing something like that, right? And fix a load of balance problems before they happen. Okay, no, I like it. I'll mention it at some point, Sharkbite. And you tired of the same thumbnail? I mean, not for the stream. No, you know it's the stream, don't you? Do you want me to change the thumbnail? Are you tired of the same letters in the alphabet? I don't know. No, I'm not. It's my favourite Star Citizen picture, actually. I mean, it's from Haskaha. who is a genius of a Star Citizen photographer. Are you all doing well? Hello, hello. Yeah, if you'd like to ask any questions, I'll talk a little bit about CitizenCon. I'll talk a little bit about Alpha 4.4. I'll talk about we talk about the latest patch that's actually live. We've got Intergalactic Aerospace Expo coming up in November as well. My Paladin, I love it. Yeah, talk to Mike, and even an additional inventory tab would be good. We should not add another letter to the alphabet. I already can't understand all of the words people are using nowadays. So, after CitizenCon, I get my obligatory flu of some kind, and I injured my back and shoulder. So, I've been pretty poorly. I'm pretty much over the cold, or the flu, or whatever it was. Because it's cold. But my back and shoulder are pretty bad still. So I do not know how long I will stream for. We will get some more in-depth, interesting content when I'm a bit more alive again, because I want to run the SD facilities. I want to run the fully with some Yomandi fights. I haven't fully explored them properly, really. Like I've only done I've run around them a few times, but I don't like them super well. And I haven't done any of the new, beyond the PTU stuff. I haven't done any of the new event, and it's a limited time event. It's not super interesting to me. So Zin and I have talked about that in the podcast today. Like it's a smaller patch for sure. I mean, there's some big things in it, and the Mondays cool. The structural salvage updates are fantastic. Getting stuff in, sort of ready for crafting's great. And then obviously you've got this event which is sort of starting to lead into Nyx. Will we actually be getting any of the planets, Nyx 1, Nyx 2, or Nyx 3 this November? So, good question. Definitely not Nyx 1. They said any of the rocky Nyx planets, no. So, almost certainly not Nyx 1 or 2, is what I would say. Potentially Nyx 3, because Nyx 3 might be a ice giant or a icy gas giant. Maybe. Don't expect the planets. I'm not expecting them. But CIG said, we're not giving you the whole of the Nyx system with its initial release, and with Nyx 1 and eventually Nyx 2, probably Nyx 2 as well. They need the new Genesis tech, which isn't finished yet, and I believe potentially, from what other people have said, requires DirectX 11 to be depreciated and removed from the game because it has some visual stuff tied in with Vulkan, maybe. When 4.4 PTU, it could be as early as the end of this week. Probably between end of this week and end of next week, I would expect for a PTU. So 4.4 adds the Nyx system and an event. Sandbox activity, a permanent event. So it's not actually that massive. As in, sort of stuff that can go wrong. I mean, it's a whole new star system, isn't it? But I think it's so with that, I believe we're getting Delamar and Levski. We're getting the Glacium Ring, and then a load of like asteroid bases and the Vandal in the persistent universe. So it's, I think, probably less trouble than a new feature like engineering would be. That's I reckon. I have a feeling some core features aren't being implemented. Ones that will change the gameplay entirely, because I'm not sure if CIG knows how to do it yet. So things like engineering, I was expecting to be in game by now. And they said they wanted to test engineering by the end of the year. They've also said they wanted to get Vulkan integrated into the live build by the end of the year. And they wanted to test on the tech preview crafting by the end of the year. There's quite a lot. It's possible that with engineering, there's been some major problems. We know they've been testing the flight model as well. There's some of the planetary updates for it. If I lean back and do weird things, it's because I'm trying to pop my back and shoulder. Yeah, so that's one of the things I've been talking to people about as well. A lot of people are not lovers of Pyro because they're not fan of the gameplay and the factions and more PvP orientated gameplay there. And because there's been so much cool stuff in Stanton, right, with like the ASD facilities and stuff. If those ASD facilities were in Pyro, then I do think that would be a lot more people in Pyro, right? We fought Yomandi last night, and some guy glitches the cave in a small ship. We killed him, but CIG needs to fix that. Yes, I saw people using the Pisces to glitch into caves. Will we be getting a Genesis rework of existing planets before Q2 2026? Almost certainly not. So we might not even have Nyx 1 in game. So we will be getting a Genesis rework of existing planets, and it will come after they've added Nyx 1, probably Nyx 2, the Nyx planets in game. Along with engineering, do you remember if CIG have stated how much of a pass ship capacitors will get? Stinger especially will be horrible without the capacity from turning off coolers. Oh, okay. I don't know. I do know that they want to implement batteries properly, and there's going to be a whole power pass going on at some point, probably with engineering. So I don't know how much or how it's going to end up. I'd expect it to be better. They've gamified the gamer. They're trying to gamify some systems that benefit from gamification. That is my defense of CIG there. So I wouldn't expect it to be in a horrible state. They need to fix what they have, like contracts, infinite loading, alt. So some of that's okay. Some of that stuff is not fixed. Yeah, fair. I was about to go. Some of that's no. In the latest hotfix, it fixes stuff with like the Yomandi and stuff. I think the Wicklow contracts are still busted, right? Citation needed. The live build. I mean, I'm enjoying the monthly patch cadence. I do also understand that sometimes that can be pretty frustrating when something breaks for a prolonged period of time. Especially when CIG is sort of more focused on 4.4, Nyx, the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. I know a lot of people dislike limited time events as well because they go CIG's time's being wasted on this, and I'm not going to get involved with it anyway. I think there's an upside and downside, right? Oh, ISD contract's still broken. I did not realize they were still broken. That is annoying. What happened to binoculars? So, are they not in game? If they're not in game, I need to double check that. I know they had been tested. I'll say that. They'll be in game in 4.4 if they're not already in game, along with the spinny rocket launcher. Yeah, you buy them at Grimex. You can buy them in a few places. Yeah. So that's me getting confused between the live build and No, I was on the PTU. Sorry, I sometimes I'm worried if I'm revealing stuff I'm not supposed to reveal. Yeah. There's no there might be different types of vision and binoculars in the future as well. That's what I believe we're getting because basically the guy that made the binoculars went, I just put a scope to the face and then actually realised we could make some binoculars with this. Doesn't have a working rangefinder or night vision yet. Yes. It doesn't have them yet, right? Yeah, so a little upsetting the life build being a little more broken than you would hope, right? But I wonder if it is because they're all sort of 4.4 is the focus, right? cool little CitizenCon, right? Like, there's there's a load of stuff coming next month. You got Nyx, cool. You've got the Vandal coming into the Persistent Universe, awesome. There's loads of stuff there. A load of ships going to be turning up at the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo as well. Or they didn't say that at CitizenCon, but there will be. We're expecting the Perseus. That's basically been touted for a long time. We're expecting potentially a Apollo variant or something using the Apollo hull, maybe a medium salvager, maybe a starter salvager as well. So, with an event for an MTC in game, a surprise, the MTC isn't Alpha EVC purchasable. So, the MTC, the Guardian MX, the Asgard, and technically the Idris should all be purchasable in in-game shops now, based on CIG's statement of typically it's around 3 months before something comes from flyable to available in in-game shops, because they like that exclusivity period to encourage people to buy them. You might go, that's a horrible marketing tactic. You might go, okay, it's just it's par for the course. But that's what's done, has always been done. And the CIG had also more recently said, look, we're going to get at least the base versions of ships available to be purchased in in-game shops with Alpha EVC in a more timely, regular fashion. That's what you deserve. That does not appear to have been what happened with the Fleet Week, because this is stuff from May, basically, the Fleet Week ships. They have put the Fleet Week weapons in shops, though. So the Nova turret and the Scorpius turret. You might see some more bespoke stuff at the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, so options for bespoke vehicles and ships. Huh. Sorry, there's got some emails. I'm gonna be. I've been trying to get some appropriate sponsors for the channel for certain stuff, for either hardware or Star Citizen related gear and stuff like that, because I want to have a nice mix of products that I use, be they from things like Thrustmaster for joysticks or whatever, or Toby eye trackers and things like that, be it like Icon City or Game Glass or whatever. I use a lot of this stuff, and I want to be able to advertise it on my channel and do Dharma ads for that stuff. I like a nice silly promotion. And with engineering, do you remember if CIG stated how much of a pass? Oh, that's what we talked about earlier. What's the current status of dynamic server meshing? So they are improving their servers in general and their general networking tech, right? And their static server meshing stuff is building towards dynamic server meshing. Even the instancing stuff is building towards dynamic server meshing. It is all intertwined together. The status of it, I don't 100% know, beyond what we've been told by CIG more recently with instancing and stuff. It is essential for Star Citizen 1.0's release. I suspect they will have some sort of test end of next year. I'm expecting sort of end of 2017 at the earliest, maybe 2028 for Star Citizen 1.0 to come out. So it's required for that. Instancing for micro meshing and then macro. So you could easily get dynamic server meshing in phases, right? Because I go, well, effectively dynamic server meshing is nested meshing, right? Where they can go, we can spin up and spin down servers and make any object container, for sake of argument, any object container, be it a ship, be it an area of space, be it a room, its own server, and have servers that have authority over it, or it has authority over them, whatever. It sort of seamlessly integrates. And you can do that really easily with instances. But they can do that at the scale they want. They can go, well, we'll do it with areas of space, or we'll just do it with rooms, or would do it at effectively a smaller scale of dynamic server meshing, which is almost certainly what they'll do, but we'll see. Because they'll want to tweak it and see how best it operates. You also need redundancy, and you need them to be able to save servers. If they have some sort of catastrophic event, how does that recover? Tell you what, though, I can probably message Benoit and ask him if he's got any more information, or can point me at their most recent statement that's accurate, because that will tell me a lot of stuff. If they go, yes, it's here, that goes, okay, so there's probably not too much more leeway been made on beyond just an evolution of the current systems. If you see what I mean, I discern a lot of stuff by what devs will say or point to or not say as well. I reckon, Gene. Hey, BG. Thanks for giving me all the news I need on Star Citizen while I'm at work. No worries. Thank you very much for watching. Genuinely appreciated. Got Hardcore theme. Nice. 2 violin and then in the get rid of this. Jump past some of these. There we go. What else we got? Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff broken in the patch. Unfortunately, I didn't realize it was quite so much because I don't. Some stuff had worked in the PT. It's just broken now. I would love base building to be added in 2020. So you can have crafting being tested at the end of this year. You could have some level of base building being tested by the end of next. It won't be expansive base building, I wouldn't expect. But they could have a small level of base building because it's literally just, going. Well, it will be an evolution of crafting, effectively. You place a blueprint on the ground, bring materials to your drone, whatever, drone ship or vehicle. You think the crafting machine will be introduced to the Carrack when it releases? So ships with workspaces like that, I would hope so. It makes sense, right? If you've got a workshop or a work area, for that to have an inbuilt fabricator. Yeah, I'm super looking forward to the next system as well. I think it's going to be pretty good fun. Just the addition of the Vandal, right, is pretty cool. And more inter-system missions and more trade opportunities. Hangar stocking has me concerned for the proper game loop. How so? I mean, to be honest, a lot of things have me concerned how they are now. I meant to ask you, have you... So, with the RSI Perseus, there was a sneak peek in the newsletter recently, right? Let me bring it up on the screen. Let me bring this up on the screen. So, we got this bad boy, right? And I was like, oh, almost certainly the updated bridge of the Perseus, right? And it's got the calm before the command. Sorry, the calm before command. Probably a reference to calm before the storm. And Zeus, with a stormy name. That's the way I read that. Okay. So some people said it doesn't look like what we've seen from the Perseus. Doesn't make sense, and it's not military enough, and things like that. I was saying, well, okay, I see what you're saying. So it might not 100% be the Perseus, but we should be seeing the Perseus at the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. I believe it's got size. Hi. I believe it's got size 8 weapons rather than 7, but they're bespoke, so that's sort of irrelevant. yes, super looking forward to it as a dip. I like a nice combat-y brawler. One of my faves. I mean, it wasn't the most beautiful sneak peek, was it? Like a little bit of the what we think bridge. Well, I think it's the bridge. But I did understand people saying it might not be, because there are other RSO ships in the works. We think there's a variant of the Apollo. There might be a medium miner, medium salvager, and they start a salvager in the works as well. Nyx 1 looks like it could be the best place to live in game to date. Yes. Wait, there's going to be a load more planets, right? And also they're going to update all of the current planets to the new Genesis system at some point after Nyx 1. But Nyx 1 is the most beautiful planet in my opinion so far. It's also the most similar to Earth, right? Yeah, all planets will be getting updated. I believe. I don't. I was going to say I believe it will be the Stanton planets. They'll do Nyx, and then with the Stanton planets, they have not put together a timeline and a priorities list for Genesis after Nyx. It is going to the other planets, but. Yeah. The Perseus is near 100% going to be it. The Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, and we think the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo is 20th of November. Pretty sure with the Perseus. How should we stay positive when small patches and add some missions, some loot boxes in old locations, and some ships happen to break? Okay, I mean, you don't have to stay positive. That's the thing. You can play another game. I'm playing a load of Ball X Pit. I tried out Arc Raiders, and I hated the first round of it, but then I got really into it afterwards. Just playing it like kind of casual and dumb. There's yeah, so it'll get better if they break it. There is a problem with Star Citizen being an alpha is that they do break stuff. With their especially their monthly patch cadence, where you go, oh yes, fantastic. You're expecting it to be more and more playable each month, and sometimes they break some stuff. So they did fix a load of the problems with hotfixes over the weekend, but there's still other stuff broken, which I thought was fixed, but obviously is not. You had to limit yourself to one ship. What would it be? Probably the Carrack. I love the Mercury Star Runner as well. The Carrack's pretty multi-role for my needs. Looking forward to the Ironclads. You might see them at Fleet Week. Maybe. Do you have any updates on VR and Star Citizen? So, we know we're getting really close to Vulcan integration, and they're probably going to fully depreciate DirectX 11. Once Vulcan's in, CIG are able to more readily assess VR support. They are planning to have it for Squadron and Star Citizen. You can bodge some level of VR in Star Citizen now. You can do a load of games. So I'm going to be looking at VR in Star Citizen and bodging it and the future of that in the not too distant future. I'm going to be messing around with some VR-y stuff. I can poke the couple of devs that said they were would work for free trying to get it in game if they could, work in their spare time. Yeah, Vulcan big blocker now, yeah. But the plan is to have Vulcan fully integrated by the end of the year. Don't think it's planned to have DirectX 11 depreciated by the end of the year, though. I believe that you need Vulcan in and DirectX 11 out to have the new Genesis planet tech, at least. That's what other people have said. Which alien system do you think will be added after 1.0 release? So, they've got Castra and Terra to come. I also assume that I assume that the Odin system will be put in to Star Citizen's Persistent Universe after Squadron 42's release, at some point after Squadron 42's release. Because that will be a largely done system. Maybe we see the Grey Mustang in November. So, the Rose Market one. Yeah. So I'll be talking about that in some spoiler videos. I say spoiler. That original tease was in 2019, right? Get like 2 hours of Vulcan, and then it turns to crap. Interesting. Do you think it's like a shader problem? Like an overflow thing? Bored. Why am I still getting CM and salvaging construction materials and not the new chunks and powder? So that it becomes construction materials and sort of is refined by the ship. And then you refine it further. Sorry, I'm pretending I'm flying around in my Vulture. What are you salvaging in? In the Reclaimer specifically? I don't know. Don't know if it's bugged or anything. I thought the Reclaimer was working with all the new stuff. So, working with all the new stuff. The Reclaimer's had a good amount of updates to make that ship a lot more effective. Allowing it to actually dock with stations and refineries doing refining is good. If you noticed as well, when they were talking about the Nix system, they were showing off a little red patch of like stars. I was like, that's sort of Vandal space and systems over there, and if you fly towards those, you'll get more dangerous points of interest. And I was like, oh, okay, so they're just using it as sort of like a North Star of danger as well in the Nix system. They're doing a massive salvaging overhaul while they simultaneously making obsolete. So the economy updates they're doing with RMC and construction materials and how that all worked out was not ideal. Like they need to increase the values of those significantly. At least you're talking about price inflation is an interesting thing as well. The economy needs to be entirely rebalanced and redone, right? Everything's super temporary in the economy, and then it needs to be dynamic. Or simulated, or both. So from my experience of the new structural salvage, you use the field to break apart a ship, whether you've alt scripted or not. And then based on the size of the ship, you'll get salvage chunks or the powder. Wasn't a show with 5 people today because Easy Anti-Cheat was kicking everyone all willy-nilly. It feels like maybe 10 people are making the game now. How many devs are actually working on Star Citizen rather than Squadron 42? There's a... I don't know the numbers, but it is hundreds working on Star Citizen. They're not all just polishing Squadron 42. Weird that Easy Anti-Cheat was breaking. So I know there's... So the Windows update stuff has broken a load of my games. Interesting. So a lot of people are having problems with 1.3.2 that I've not had, and I wasn't even aware of. Thank you very much for the kind words. Appreciate it. Maybe the Arastra. Oh, what the ship front. Forgot about the Arastra. That's the medium. The Arastra's the minor, right? Hmm. You're right, Tobias, mate. I've only been too proud to try out the jump gate. Too laid back for PvP these days. I want managed PvP, like I want to be able to approach it when I want to approach it, typically. Oh, I do love a Culto. Amazon Web Services went down overnight. I'm pretty sure it also affected Easy Energy. Okay. But quite possibly. How's the no drinking going since Friday at CitizenCon bar season? Well, I mean, I drank a reasonable amount at CitizenCon, but I did not worry. I was good. I was in control. I'm not so worried about getting drunk at events now after CitizenCon, just because I was like, okay, yeah. But I don't feel when I was younger, especially, I felt the need to drink a lot more. I'm bipolar, so the amount I drink can come and go, but I feel a lot more safe, especially when I inform people I do not want to drink too much, and when I repeat that and go, oh, no drink for me, sort of thing. It was good. I had a great night at CitizenCon, and then afterwards at the watch party in the UK. Great seeing a load of the CIG people. It's great seeing a load of you people. So Alpha 4.3.2 could be better. There's a lot of bugs, unfortunately, in the verse. A lot of people have been having very different issues from me. I have a pretty good experience with 4.3.2, but there was like some missions weren't acceptable and that sort of stuff. But I have not done a deep dive into Live's issues yet. I appreciate. I'm not sure what this on-screen bitty stuff is. First time I saw Nick's one, I was no way it's real. I'm so glad they were able to get something together for that. Let us actually. If I. Do we have? This big. There we go. You can have a look at some of the Nick stuff in the background there, because the Genesis tech is pretty impressive, right? Like they for something that wasn't originally going to have procedural planets, and then was going to have very procedurally assisted planets, the tool set. They've now gone, well, actually, we've made beautiful world generator, and we can go back to procedural planets rather than, they will be slightly procedurally assisted. But basically what I'm saying is sometimes the artists will go down and make a particular area, but it will, for the most part, they can make a beautiful planet with their planet maker, which will do most of it procedurally and make it look beautiful and relevant. And there's a reason for the plants in the forest. There's a reason for the mountains to look like that. There's a reason for the river to be there. It is pretty impressive. It looks absolutely great. And I like the idea that at a glance, you'll be able to go, oh, that mountain is this sort of color. It's probably iron ore there. That sort of stuff. Nyx 1 especially has such a diverse range of biomes, from wetlands to swamps to like meadows and fields, much more mountainous zones. I'm not sure if it has much in the way of deserts, nor am I sure what the new deserty updates will look like with Genesis. Like forests as well, and we know they've got like things like jungles and other bits and bobs planned. Any news on drones? So, there are supposed to be scout drones and repair, rearmor, refuel drones, a variety of different drones for the game. I suspect the first drones we will see will be construction drones for base building. Oh, infinite loading screen. That is upsetting. So that's what a lot of people have been saying to me today. I've not had the infinite loading screen issue. So, let me turn PvP off when I want. So, for me, it's I want to engage in PvP when I want. So, more, let me turn PvP on when I want. I just want to manage the risk. I'm kind of okay with PvP maybe occurring, just in general. But very low chance. But I just want to know when I'm going into an area how dangerous it is, right, and choose based on that. Do you think the trade districts are broken in anticipation of a complete hold of the TDDs? Basically the same thing. To player trading. I talked to a couple of the economy lads at the Citizen Co-watch party, and a bar citizen before that, actually. So they are keen to get this stuff updated, to get better player trading in, proper player trading, proper effort versus reward, a dynamic economy, lots of stuff they're working on. But at the moment, it's kind of placeholder, right? So I think it's just broken, and we're also anticipating a big update to the economy, because we're gonna get a big update with trade, right? Yeah. So for me, it's risk versus reward, right? When it comes to PvP, and just knowing how to manage the risk. And you shouldn't know all factors, but you should know some. That's why some people just don't like to go to Pyro, right? I'll make a big list of problems with 1.3.2. I need to do a state of the game and go, the mini patch seems to be a lot of focus on 4.4. It did break a lot of stuff, which is a shame. I think the Yamundi fight's pretty enjoyable though, right? No worries. Thank you very much for the kind words. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day at work. Captain Artan. Artan? I'm terrible with names. I want risk. I just want it coming from NPCs. Okay, yeah, no, that's fair. Zin absolutely hates most PvP. I say most PvP. I mean, she plays finals. She's good at finals. I think what it is, she just doesn't want to ruin someone else's day or even interrupt what they're doing, and she doesn't want people to interrupt what she's doing. So I suppose if there's PvE, she wants to focus on the PvE. But if it's just PvP, she'll focus on the PvP. I like a bit of PvP mixed in. I think that's important. But you think it should be managed risk, and it should be informing me of where these places are dangerous. And some places should be pretty much, especially with the instances, right? Should be PvP free. Some stuff entirely PvP, some stuff a mix. Yeah, I don't want it to be GTA and Sea of Thieves. I'm just constantly getting attacked by players who are better, smarter, and more equipped than me. I'm starving. I might have to have a little snackette in a minute. Didn't Benoit say they had things in place to prevent patches from being this bad? So, they need to do a mini update, I think. They said they had stuff in place to help prevent major bugs. I think it's just a lot of bugs in this one. A lot. People are not having the best time, it seems. One is cool, but I think they wanted to recycle all the Valkyr code. So I talked to Sin about this today as well. I mean, the Amandis are reasonably different from the Valkyr, but obviously built on the same tech, right? How would you feel if they were just producing snakes and worms? It'd be interesting to see how Jumptown evolves, right? Yeah, I think some people are getting loads of problems with the latest patch. Some people are getting very little. And it's going to depend on a mixture of luck and also what gameplay you are engaging in. I'm not sure if I've used the mammoth repeaters, to be honest. It might be on a turret or something, a capital ship that I've not realised. Oh. I mean, it'll go on a size 6e boy, right? Size 6 turret or mount. Hmm. I can't think of anything they're on either. Where do these bugs come into play then? Surely the TDD was working the PTE. So, yes, but not necessarily in all situations. Also, stuff can just break on when they put stuff onto live, because there's like a server disconnect or there is a single number wrong. There's a load of factors that can happen. I have not done any of the new event missions, the limited event in the live build yet. I've only done it in the PTE. Imagine Jumptown with 600 player shards. It would suck if it was instance. They can... ends, doesn't it? Maybe it would. If you think about something enough for that sort of stuff, you can come up with a system, a way of it working instance. But you might not want it instanced. And you can have open instances as well, right? Where it just goes, well, as soon as you get to a certain player limit, and starts to fit you around. If I tried to stack event missions, they would fail at hand in. I had to do them one at a time. Okay. Wouldn't it make sense law-wise to introduce Earth animals to terraform planets in the future? So they use certain seed animals like the space cow, right? That's what the UE use. There are a load of elevator fixes. Elevators are the least of the problems in the latest patch. To focus on bugged missions, the game would be much more enjoyable. So I think the problem is that they can fix this stuff and then it will be bugged in the next patch again, or in a different way, or in the future, right? So some of this stuff does reoccur. They will get it into a state at some point when there's no huge new systems coming in and it's all built on the same code and tech. Everything's just a lot more stable. But yeah, it is soul destroying when you are unable to. You've gone 2 steps back with the content that you want to play in the latest patch, right? Give it a week. Give it a week. What are your thoughts on what needs to be done for the Reclaimer rework? So, visual updates aside, I want to be able to. Needs more automation in it, really. I want the salvage, refined or compact, refined or otherwise, to come out directly into the cargo area and be able to be semi-automatically sorted without having to faff around with a load of tractor beams and moving stuff around. That's the main thing I want with the Reclaimer. Then, obviously, general accessibility to it, the lifts to work properly, the cargo grids to work properly. But I want to be able to do large-scale salvage with it without having to do too much admin with moving crates around. I mean, that sort of ship, yes, you'll have to do a bit of moving boxes around to a degree. I'm not saying finally get rid of it. I don't want to do it much. I'm going to have a dedicated guy that's just waiting there. Seems dumb. I like the fact that it now dock with stations. And I don't want a full rework of it or anything. Just some tweaks visually and some tweaks internally. That's literally got any ETA on the Hull C commodity fixes yet that I missed? So I know that there's a lot of stuff they want to get done for 4.4. I think the Hull C is going to be a big part of that. So if there's not, I'm expecting a commodity update and a load of cargo ship updates for next patch. That they should bodge some fixes in for anything that's broken this one though soon. You mentioned adding in people to speak the missions. You're talking about what physical mission givers. So they're going to be getting more and more physical mission givers with, I think, Recco Battaglia at Nyx is going to be, and at Levski going to be the first one they focus on re-implementing. And then you're going to have people like Aislinn McCann, who's the, or McCann, the ATC controller there as well, probably in 4.4. I expect them both to be in 4.4 to a degree. And actually, I don't think we've got an ETA on Reglia. Should hear. Aislinn McCann. So, I want the Reclaimer. The Reclaimer for me does not need to do much in the way of refining, if any. It needs to be able to expel waste that I don't want, materials I don't want, and then efficiently cube the salvage. So there's a load of random bugs. I only talk about a couple in the podcast today from Zin and I didn't realise that it was quite so bad for some of them, to be honest. The Misk Expanse, that refinery, is still going to be a ship in the game at some point. My biggest gripe is how painful it is unloading the reclaimer. So I'm fine if I can. Well, so you shouldn't have to load and unload the reclaimer in my vision of it. That automates putting a load of the salvage into the cargo bay, and then you dock with a refinery station, or in a similar way, having a little area to park like the Hull C does, or had, whatever, at refinery stations, and then be able to do your refinery, refine to, refine from, straight from the ship. That's what I want. What's your hopes of where mining, salvage, resource gathering long term should go? So it should all work into the creation of items and the economy in game that all sort of support each other to some degree. They should all be viable missions. They should all have some real interesting sort of gameplay loops associated with them. Like at 1.0, where do you think the worker factions are likely to be? What do you mean? Are the snakes in the Onyx engineering wing missions new? Yes. So snakes, the Yomondi in Site B. Yeah, they're new. Expense will be critical for cheaply building a base, I think. Well, it depends on materials we need, right? So probably, maybe. It's going to depend on what you want your base for, right? You might be able to actually extract over time all the base building materials you want in the base that you're building in. You'll be able to go, well, I'll start small, extract some of the resources I need to expand the base. Depends what the base is for, all that sort of jazz. Any other quick questions? Because I need to take some painkillers and lie down for a little bit, unfortunately. Guns. Yeah, it sounds like the Reclaimer is going to be the worst ship for crafting with its quantity over quality. Yes, I see what you mean. But I suppose quantity just means you are not choosing necessarily quite so accurately what you're getting. That's the way I read quantity over quality. Quantity over choice. That is the way I hear that. But no, you might be right. You might be like, well, actually, to get the rare materials, they're closer to the denser center of this asteroid field, and get in there, you need small ships, or to more accurately scan it down and grab it, you need smaller ships like the Vulture or whatever. Yeah. Also, when it comes to salvage, it's a little different from mining, right? Because there's not going to be a random quality of salvage goods, right? Because a ship or whatever will salvage down into its actual component parts. If it's made of high quality goods, you'll get high quality goods from it. It's more the mining stuff, in my opinion, my understanding, that's quality over quantity. Or at least... We'll find out at some point. You've now made me think about it. Thanks. It's great to see you at the watch party. Hope you're doing well. I am. Thank you very much, Broken AI. A fellow board gamer enjoy. Oh! Yeah, no worries. I gave you my card, right? You can always message me on Discord or whatever if you want some board game recommendations. Chat whenever. Board games are a big passion of mine. It was good to meet you and your partner. Feel better, PG? Get that headache. I've not really much of a headache. It's the back and neck. The very tail end of a cold or flu or something. I think anytime I go to a bar citizen or watch party or citizen con, whatever, I'm going to get ill because I don't go out of the house much. And then there's a lot of people there, and I go, have a cold. Are you sort of talking about actual corps and orcs and factions in game? More and more are coming. You're going to have more of those workers orgs. I would say probably more activity in Castra, Stanton, Terra. They're lawful, but there's going to be a lot of work for them to do in Nyx and Pyro. You'll be able to do a lot of their work kind of wherever. I'll have a think about actually how I want the Reclaimer visually to look as well. When I think of mining, refining, and salvage ships, I want a good level of automation to them, so I don't have to faff around with admin constantly. But it's supposed to be a multi-cruise ship as well. Right, I'm going to dash off. Thank you so much for watching. Genuinely appreciated. I'll get the contract. I'll get the content a bit better on track. I've been sort of phoning it in since CitizenCon because I've been, as I said, ill and injured. So my shoulder's still pretty bad. But soon, I want to do a 4.3.2. Hopefully, we'll get a bit better fixed so that I can play through all the ASD facility stuff and the new limited event. I am more interested in 4.4 more than anything else, to be honest. Yeah, so the interiors of some ships, especially ones that are worn because they're like, oh, they're manufacturing. We want it to feel like an industrial ship, like the Reclaimer. I do want to have a factory new one, right, with beautiful interior. It's all polished. Yeah, right. Thanks so much. Genuinely appreciate it. You guys have a great time. I will see you soon. And thanks for joining me. I like to just say hello and make sure everyone's doing okay and get an idea of what people are worried about. Because I did not know that 4.3.2 was quite so broken for... obviously, not all of these problems are happening 100% of the time, but a lot of people are having a lot of problems I was not having. That is unfortunate to hear. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. You guys have a great time, and I'll talk to you soon. Hopefully 4.3.2